Thank you so much for having me. I am Gwendolyn Graff. I work for Wrigley, and my life, for the most part, exists in a lab where I mostly formulate gum formulas. And from doing that, I have learned a lot about how we actually taste, and so I'm here to talk to you today about how we taste. It's something we do every day, and believe it or not, it's pretty cutting-edge science. And it's not that I'm on the research end of the science, but it's really interesting to start looking at how we actually do that, and most of it happens in our brain. So first of all, this is the talk that we want to take out our kits, and this kit has several components, and I'm going to introduce them to you individually. So I'll give you some time to take them out. Feel free to eat them that you want, and if you don't feel comfortable eating them, feel free not to. I'll let you know what's in each of them. The first is this green vial, and it actually contains gum base. And so if you want to take that out and try gum base, you'll actually see that it's a pretty innocuous substance. It tastes like pretty much nothing. And so for that reason, when we actually develop a gum formula, we have to actually build back in that taste experience in order to give the consumer the perception that they're eating something. And so that's what I'm going to talk to you about. So I work in the sensory and design group at Wrigley, and my background's in science. So there's several components that actually build into that taste or flavor experience that you have when you eat food. And probably the largest component really is the taste of it. And so we're going to talk a little bit about taste. This is one of my favorite subjects. So there's actually 5 things that we can taste, and that's it. So we can taste sweet, sour, salt, bitter, and umami. And so I'm going to take you through each of those. And the reason we have the ability to taste these 5 things is a total survival instinct. So 3 of them are for living, and 2 of them are to not die. So So let's start out with sweet, and in the characteristic sweet note would be sugar. So you guys have a packet of sugar in your bag, so go ahead and take that out. Go ahead and try it. Sugar obviously tastes sweet. I'm sure you've all tasted sugar. One thing I'd just ask you to pay a little attention to, first of all, save some, because I'm going to have you use it a little bit later. And it'll also, sugar is warm when it melts on your tongue. It actually gives off energy into your mouth when it dissolves. And when you try a mint later, you're going to see that it's cold for a couple of reasons, and one that is a sugar-free, which is cold. But so the reason that we have sugar is a really good reason to live. And that's because sugar and carbohydrates give us energy. And from the moment that we're born, we crave sweet things. Mother's breast milk is sweet. Babies are hardwired for things that are sweet. We're hardwired to crave sweet things so that we can feed our body energy. So the next one we're going to talk about is sour. And sour characteristically is described as a lemon. And you guys have a packet of a citric acid or a lemon juice crystallized, true lemon. And although we've learned to like sour and to adapt sour into our diet, for the most part, our bodies they reject sour. So actually kids are really good at this, and I'm going to watch some of your faces as you're eating the crystals. Yeah, our body tells us everything we need to know about sour, especially as a kid. Back up and close, right? If we actually think about our taste as our bouncer for what can and can't get into our body, the face tells you everything. Close and back away. We don't want this in there. So it's totally a warning signal by our body that we shouldn't be having something that's sour. Now we've learned to like it along with the presence of sweet and other things, but sour in and of itself indicates that something is either not ripe or that it's spoiled. So milk goes sour, meat goes sour, and our body has instinctually knows that if something is sour, it potentially is dangerous for us to be letting it into our system. So the next one we're going to talk about is salty. Our third taste is salty. So you have a packet of salt, and I'm sure you've all tasted salt, but if not, take out your salt. And salty, it's funny because we regulate this in our diet a lot, and it actually has a really functional purpose. We have salt because it actually regulates our sodium-potassium pump to allow for differences in and out of our cells, which actually move fluid in and out of our cells. So our body is mostly composed of water, and this is actually the driver that moves all of our everything around our cells. So as much as we shouldn't have an over-saltified diet, but we need salt. Salt is really, really important to move all of our fluids around our body. Next one is bitter, and characteristically we have coffee, and you have a vial that's Folgers coffee grounds, so go ahead and taste that. And bitter is another one of these that the body says, don't do it. And although we all enjoy coffee in the morning, again, a kid's face will tell you exactly what to think about that or what the body thinks about that. Yuck. Yuck. We generally reject things that are bitter. It's a total warning statement by the body that says this is toxic, and including coffee. We drink it often in the morning to wake us up, but if we drink too much of it, it gives us the jitters. Things that are bitter tend to do things to you, and we hire people like doctors to actually give us an idea of what dose is the appropriate amount to actually do things to us in our body that won't actually injure us. But this is also why there's so much money in the pharmaceutical industry for coatings and gel coatings and things to get it actually past your taste buds. Because if you had to chew your medications, your body would expel them. You would not let them through. So we're actually getting ourselves to take them down by swallowing that pill and not to throw them up, because we know that we need them in there, but your body doesn't want it in there. The last one we're going to talk about is umami, and this is the taste that most people are a little less familiar with. This has been long known in the Japanese and Asian culture. It's only in the last 100 years that the Western culture has really embraced umami. And umami is actually the taste of protein. So some people say it's the taste of like bacon or mushroom broth. It's very like brothy and meaty. And you have a little yellow packet, and it's filled with accent, which is MSG. And MSG, I know, has bad press. MSG stands for monosodium glutamate. It's the salt of glutamine. Glutamine is one of your 23 amino acids. And we only have the ability to make a percentage of the amino acids to actually repair our muscles, which is what umami does for us. We have to ingest the rest of the amino acids. And so it's why it's so important that there's protein in our diet, that we're eating those amino acids, and we crave them because we need to repair our muscles in order to live. So it kind of tastes a little salty, but it kind of has this little guttural taste if you guys are trying the MSG. So when we actually look at these 5 basic tastes, we see 3 of them are for living, 2 of them are to not die. And I think it's kind of interesting when you're sick, what you typically crave, or at least what we typically crave, is chicken soup. And it's got the total recipe for repairing your body.